When Patreon first launched in 2013, it changed the landscape of digital media forever. The story goes that musician Jack Conte, I'm gonna go with Conte, loved making videos online, but he wanted to make a living off his creative project and he didn't have very many avenues. Google AdSense isn't known for being very lucrative and personal websites aren't very reliable, so he got an idea. And along with Sam Yam, they set off to create a platform where patrons can pay to support their favorite artists. Finally, creators would have an easy and simple solution to fund their creative ventures. And that dream has partly become a reality. By 2019, Patreon had paid out over $1 billion to creators, and the train shows no signs of slowing down. Patreon has become an essential part of the digital media experience. Thousands of creators have been able to abandon their day job and become content creators, all thanks to this one little tech startup that revolutionized how we approach art on the internet. So, what's there to critique? The first signs of trouble began in 2017. Conte put out a blog post laying out the new service fees Patreon would charge for each transaction. The fee was 2.9% of each pledge, plus a flat 35-cent charge, which made $1 to $2 pledges way more expensive. This backfired big time, and the company was forced to walk the decision back. Many of you lost patrons and you lost income. No apology will make up for that, but nevertheless, I'm sorry. This move revealed a gaping hole in the Patreon business model. They just weren't making a profit. Like the hundreds of other tech startups out there, Patreon was funded by venture capitalists and angel investors. These are the individuals who front-load the cost of starting a business with the expectation of making big returns on their investment. As it was, Patreon was making more than enough to continue providing the same service to its users, but providing good quality service wasn't enough. Investors wanted to see growth, a whole lot of it. And so while the 2017 fees failed, in 2019 they launched a new tiered account system, where Patreon's fees would range from 5 to 12% of a creator's revenue depending on their size and level of need. The reason behind the rollout of the new plan was clear as day. Patreon needed to get more money out of creators, and to do so, it needed to expand past its initial vision of being a donation platform. It couldn't just be a platform anymore, it needed to be a service. The premium plan promises creators growth via the help of a dedicated Patreon manager that connects you to opportunities and the help you need. By being part of the premium plan, you're paying more, but you're also getting a supposed service. This is a pattern of behavior you see in a whole lot of tech companies. A demand in the market is identified and a project is started to meet it, venture capital is acquired, and the project is launched successfully. But success isn't enough. The capital holders demand growth, and so the developers staple all kinds of new features onto the project to suck more money out of the consumer. And while sometimes these features are loved, a lot of the time this leads to bloated software that loses sight of its original purpose. As of 2020, Patreon has now entered the micro-lending market with Patreon Capital. So I guess now if you need a loan, Patreon's got your back? Which is just weird, and really doesn't have anything to do with its original purpose of providing artists and creators a sustainable source of income. As the years go on, it's likely Patreon will continue to bloat itself with one auxiliary service after the other, just to snag a few more dollars from creators. But this isn't the only issue caused by their business model. There's also the issue of censorship. Patreon isn't the newest tech startup on the block anymore. It's grown up, and one of its priorities now is to maintain its squeaky clean, advertiser-friendly brand, because again, it's all about pleasing the shareholders. The website that was once welcome of a variety of content has cracked down on all kinds of different genres. It recently banned a weirdly specific genre of NSFW content, which is kind of funny, but also it's part of its slow march towards the prohibition of all types of this kind of content. and it's been forcing these workers out of Patreon altogether. Patreon also came under a whole lot of heat, even leading to a lawsuit over its treatment of right-wing creators. And I'm definitely not the kind of guy to defend any of these people. I think generally banning people like Lauren Southern from ever having a platform is a positive thing. But like every social media company, when it's cracked down on right-wingers, it inevitably both sides the situation and comes down on left-wingers too. In 2017, Patreon deleted the account of the independent news website It's Going Down right after taking down some right-wing channels, almost as a reflexive way to defend themselves from the accusation that they're targeting right-wingers. When these big tech media companies go after the wolves, they always need a sacrificial lamb. And as they continue to make it harder and harder to talk about anything remotely political or controversial, we really need to be asking whether this is where we want to be making our money. But thankfully, there is an alternative. In 2015, LiberaPay was founded. It's a recurring donation platform just like Patreon, except it's a non-profit, meaning there are no shareholders to appease. It's got a ton of notable organizations and companies fundraising off of it, and despite its shaky early history, it's grown to become a notable player in the crowdfunding market. The only major difference between LiberaPay and Patreon is that patrons can't receive anything in exchange for donations, so there aren't any tiers of support. Instead, you just put how much you're willing to donate per week or month. While some might see this as a negative, this is huge. Since they are strictly donations, you don't pay a VAT or a tax. Patreon is rolling out taxes and VAT payments this summer, which will again mean less money for creators. Meanwhile, in LiberaPay, there are no fees, only what the payment processor takes, so creators get more money more often. There's also an Explore feature. While Patreon has stripped its website of any discovery features altogether, LiberaPay makes it easy for your content to be discovered by wandering patrons with cash burning a hole in their pockets. Right now, the biggest thing separating LiberaPay from Patreon is growth. LiberaPay is a small nonprofit with a big vision for what it wants to become, not a fully featured multi-million-dollar behemoth. Eventually, we'll be able to send updates to donors, customize our donation forms, and see and interact with our patrons. But because of its size, every new feature is a huge effort. That is why I want to promote LiberaPay. If you're a creator, I don't think shutting down your Patreon and opening a LiberaPay would be a super wise move, since you'd probably lose a whole lot of money. But I think it'd be wise to consider a slow shift towards the platform, especially for political creators like myself. And if you let me get poetic about the entire thing, Patreon began with an admirable goal to make funding art easier, essentially democratizing the world of online media so anyone could live out their dreams. But with the passing of every year, it seems Patreon has succumbed to the pressures of its business model, seeking not to help the struggling artists of the world, but to partner with enterprises to pad its profits. Patreon gamifies the act of patronage. Users are given unique tiers and titles depending on their donation level, and given access to an exclusive world of content and art. Just like Patreon is a private business, so too does it seek to privatize art and lock access behind a paywall. Meanwhile, the LiberaPay project is founded upon the idea that our work exists in the commons, that creators make open and accessible work that shouldn't exist behind a gated community. It's a non-profit dedicated to the creation of open and free knowledge, software, art, and media. It's content for everybody, and I think that's a beautiful goal. So I've decided to open up my own LiberaPay. I wouldn't be here without the direct monetary support of a lot of you. When my laptop died a year ago, you all crowdfunded to help me get a new one. I recognize a lot of you from my old Patreon that was shut down during my hiatus earlier this year. So by no means feel pressured to give. To tell you the truth, I already feel deeply indebted to the support I've received from a lot of you, especially to my former Patreons and those who have supported me in the past, so before anything else, I'd like to thank you. This Patreon video is actually the one I promised I'd make way back when, for those of you who remember, but I didn't really like the Patreon experience as a creator personally, so this seems like a very solid alternative. And I have really high hopes for the future. We've had an awesome past couple of months, and we've talked about loads of different topics and ideas. And I have a bunch of things I still want to talk about. And I'm not content with just talking about ideas. I'm working restlessly to build a working class movement, and I'm documenting every step of the way, which I'll probably have a video of that out very soon. We're doing big things here, and if you find yourself able to support, then go donate to causes that actually matter. And then if you still have money left over, go look out other causes that matter. And finally, if you still find yourself able to support, then you can go to liberapay.com/Torres_ASDF to help me keep making the content you enjoy. There's a lot of good things coming, and just like this is still a small channel with big dreams for the future, I hope one day we can build LiberaPay up to be a viable competitor for Patreon. Thanks for watching.